Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, we're going to talk about something a little bit more interesting. Like, things got very technical there. So I'm Jeff. I'm on the Axie Infinity team, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about our game, our community, and kind of my analysis of why our community is so engaged and enthusiastic. Yeah, so just a little bit about my background and my history. So I actually grew up as a collector. I grew up collecting like butterflies and fossils with my father. I studied military and economic history, super interested in kind of like central banking, alternative monetary systems. After school, I kind of went down the more kind of conventional path. I was working at a startup, basically building kind of like resume creation tools for Ivy League students, selling those resumes to hedge funds. I thought that was pretty boring. I actually read this book by Peter Thiel, 0 to 1, and got really intrigued with the idea of actually creating a new market rather than just kind of improving on existing paradigms. So a lot of my friends who were pretty smart were interested in Ethereum and smart contracts. I bought some ETH just to kind of follow along, but I didn't really have my aha moment until I learned about non-fungible tokens through CryptoKitties. So I actually, became a content creator and a streamer in that community, and that's actually where I met the Axie team. So they kind of pitched me on their vision for kind of a Pokemon and Tamagotchi-inspired universe on the blockchain, and thought it was super compelling. Kind of got, obsessed with this idea, broke up with my girlfriend, gave my dog to my parents, and I moved to Asia to actually, work on the non-fungible tokens. This is just a picture of me. This is me collecting butterflies in, I think, Arizona as a child, and me collecting. This is like part of my shark tooth collection. Those are also things that I got. So very interested in hobbies and collecting and scarcity and what actually makes people kind of collect things, which I think is important. If you can understand physical collectibles, understanding digital collectibles should be quite natural, I think. Yeah, so just to quickly go through Axie, I think probably a lot of the people in this room are relatively familiar. Axie is a digital pet universe built on the Ethereum blockchain. Actually launched last year with inspiration from things like CryptoKitties, Pokemon, Tamagotchi, Neopets. I was actually a big Neopet player back in the day. We've had some success so far. Actually, over $1.3 million of game assets have been sold by Axie, the team, and there's been actually around that much in secondary market volume as well for the players. Just to kind of quickly go through what you can do with your Axies. So we started out playing CryptoKitties. We found it was pretty boring. All you could do was breed. So we got really interested in adding utility, adding fun, baking in as much fun and utility to these NFTs as possible. So we launched the battle system in October. There have been over 5 million battles so far. This is actually a sneak peek of an upcoming feature called PvE, or Adventure Mode, or Player versus Environment. Basically, people will be able to battle monsters, collect tokenized rewards from different projects. For example, MakerDAO is donating DAI stablecoin as a reward for the resource nodes. We've launched kind of alliances with some of the top projects in the space. So we're using Loom Network as our scaling solution. It's the only live layer 2 solution for Ethereum right now. We've had a very good experience. MakerDAO is obviously a decentralized credit facility. So we've been actually super interested in kind of bridging the gap between blockchain gaming and open finance, which are two of the kind of most promising use cases for blockchain and Ethereum right now. And we also are partnering with Clayton, which is actually the public blockchain project of Kakao. Very excited about that. We'll be making more announcements about that coming soon. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of a different thesis for why blockchain is kind of lacked adoption so far. And I'm going to speak kind of using my own experience and what I've observed in the Axie community as kind of as evidence. So for example, I believe that actually blockchain is quite discriminatory in its current form, and that it actually mainly engages technical people who know how to deploy smart contracts, who know how to set up a mining operation. These aren't things things that normal people know how to do. So if a normal person wants to kind of participate in the blockchain ecosystem, the main thing that they can do is just buy cryptocurrency or like shill on Twitter, right? So I think that blockchain games and non-fungible tokens, one of the amazing things that it can do is incentivize and create ways for normal people to participate in crypto networks without just having to kind of simply buy. So this idea of basically rewarding users for participation in the network, it's not like, it's an idea that more and more people are starting to talk about. So this is actually a quote from Fred Wilson at Union Square Ventures, one of the top VCs in the world. Also, I believe, invested in the blockchain gaming space through Dapper Labs. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the Axie community and how we've seen them, really start to participate and do these kind of fanatical things because they are stakeholders in the network and they're able to participate and earn rewards by kind of monetizing their skills, right? That might be like art, that might be streaming, that might be like making content and writing blog posts. There's so many ways for a normal person or one of our gamers to actually help improve our network, and this is something that's quite new, I believe, in the blockchain space. So this is one of our players who actually got an Axie tattoo. That was he's also he's made 2 songs, he made a musical, so he's like quite fanatic. The Axie League is something that's actually started by our players, and the crazy thing is, they've actually signed sponsorship deals with other companies out there, and sometimes I'll meet someone and say, oh, you're from the Axie team, you guys are partnered with X company, and I would have to say, actually, those are our players that negotiated that deal. So they're really starting to act like stakeholders and owners within this ecosystem. This is a painting, oil on canvas, done by one of our players as well. Another one, that purple Axie on the top left is actually sold for 110 ETH, which is around $15,000 at the time of the transaction. It was actually written about in one of Norway's top financial newspapers. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, there's actually an Axie Infinity musical. Don't have time to show it now, but check it out on YouTube. It's pretty cool. They're drone shots. This guy made a paper mache Axie, which you can see here. This is a painting done by one of our players, or I guess a drawing, to celebrate the start of our land sale. This is a little Axie, I guess, something a little bit edgier, also done by that artist. Yeah, this is like an Axie Super Saiyan. I was actually animated. It's pretty cool. So one thing that I find interesting is that there's kind of this cult of personality that is developing around the founders. So these are actually, the founders of Axie Infinity. You can see me in the bottom left. This is Trung, our CEO, kind of pumping out Axies with that, I guess, high-tech cannon. So yeah, I think our players, they really have a lot of love and respect for us, and it's because we communicate with them constantly, and we reward them with different tokenized rewards when they actually do something that helps us. This is an Axie sculpture that was made for an art contest. This is made by one of our Japanese players. Actually, 20% of our community members are Japanese. I think the art style really resonates with them. There are a lot of memes, so this is I guess it's self-explanatory, right? Yes, I think one cool thing about Axie is that there are a lot of people who are super nostalgic about Pokemon, who want to kind of interact with a cute creature game, but a lot of adults, they can't rationalize doing that normally because it's just kind of a waste of time. It's something that children do. But because there's actually a way to invest and kind of play a monetary incentive game, they're actually fathers and fathers and mothers playing with their children. So the parents might be more collectors, and they'll kind of buy the more high or the investment grade assets in our ecosystem, and then the children will kind of manage the accounts. It's a theme that I'm seeing a lot, especially I was in Manila last week, and there are a lot of fathers who are playing with their sons, and it actually really reminds me of when I was a young kid growing up with my father, collecting butterflies with him and managing that collection. So I think it's super interesting, that dynamic, and that's something that I just noticed over the last couple of weeks. It's a it meme. So yeah, one thing, so I talked about, I guess empowering non-technical people, but obviously developers and community developers are also quite important to our network. And what we've seen is that, yeah, there are Axie kind of like fan sites popping up. This is basically a site built to onboard new players. So there are like all these new player guides, there's data there, axieworld.com, check it out if you're interested in starting to play. This is actually like basically a KPI dashboard built by one of our players. So usually companies, they have to like build their own, and it takes away development resources. So like we've been super grateful that our players have actually been able to save us time to focus on like core features, and we haven't had to like do things like build a analytics dashboard to kind of track how we're doing. This is the website of one of our players. He's actually an investor in our company as well. He basically has built like each one of those is an independent tool. Like so, some of them are like to check like Axie prices. Some of them like check the rarity of different body parts. So yeah, I think the developer community is very engaged, and we're quite methodical or try to be systematic about how we reward them with different tokens in our ecosystem. Yeah, we've also started to see mini games pop up. So this is Axie Sushi, which is quite simple, but actually the creator of the game is one of our players. He put up some of his own money as rewards or his own assets, and we saw people like get really fanatical about this for some reason. Like they were, one streamer I think was up for 38 hours straight playing because the rewards were really high at that time. So yeah, so we're also going to be building an SDK to really kind of facilitate building in our universe. Like we're very interested in this idea of user-generated content. Roblox has done really well by basically allowing young developers to learn how to code and learn and kind of make some extra pocket money. So this is something that I think is going to be an increasingly large part of our business moving forward. Like imagine even just a smart contract or a smart contract or a Web3 boot camp where people are required as part of their tuition to actually build on top of the Axie universe. I think something like that is super compelling. So yeah, we're so far like to basically reward and incentivize our community, we've been using basically like Axies, but we're about to actually kind of take this to the next level. By through something called the Luna token. I'm actually not going to talk I'm not going to talk about it today, but my colleague Alexander will actually be giving like an in-depth kind of walkthrough of the Luna token tomorrow. So make sure to attend that. I think that's all for today.